From the MTSU Hall of Fame, it's Blue Raider Extra Point.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Blue Raider Extra Point. I'm Abigail Martin alongside Noah Brady and Nick Frazier, sitting here in the MTSU Hall of Fame, ready to kick off another weekend. Let's go ahead and send it over to TJ Warner for this week's starting lineup.
The starting lineup.
19th ranked BYU takes on Baylor. BYU is coming off a loss to Boise State last week. This is the third all-time meeting between the pair, with BYU winning the last time all the way back in 1984. Baylor is looking to knock off BYU to hopefully become ranked again. 12th ranked Oklahoma State travels to 25th ranked Texas. Texas has won the last two meetings by a touchdown. The Cowboys are coming off a huge win against Baylor in Week 5. Texas is coming off a disappointing loss to rival Oklahoma. This will be a huge Big 12 game this week. 13th ranked Ole Miss goes on the road to play Tennessee. It's the annual checkerboard game for the stadium. This will be a hard atmosphere to play in. Rebels will look to lean on their leader, Matt Corral, to withstand the crowd. However, Vol's offense is hot right now under QB Hendon Hooker, scoring 54 points per game over the last two outings. 11th ranked Kentucky has a huge road game against number 1 Georgia. The winner of this undefeated matchup will more than likely represent the East Division in the SEC Championship. Both teams are coming off impressive in-conference games. It will be interesting to see how well the Bulldogs defense can contain the Wildcat offense. 18th ranked Arizona State travels to Utah for an in-conference matchup. The Sun Devils are led by running back White with 9 touchdowns in the year so far. He could be a problem for this Utah defense, as they are giving up 341 yards per game to offenses. This primetime matchup will be an exciting one. I'm TJ Warner, and this has been the starting lineup.
Thanks, TJ. So, Noah, what do you think about this starting lineup?
Yeah, so on the starting lineup this week, we had a couple really great matchups highlighted. Obviously, out in the Midwest, Oklahoma State and Texas, two powerhouse teams going neck and neck. But you talk about a powerhouse matchup. Tennessee and Ole Miss in the SEC. Everybody in the SEC is still just trying to fill out who this Tennessee team is with this new offensive look they're going with. New head coach Josh Heupel in his first year. They've been on the right side of a couple blowouts, but also they've lost some games that they probably should have won as an SEC school. I'm excited to see how this one turns out. First sellout at Neyland Stadium since 2017. A lot of stakes. Stakes are set pretty high going into this one.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And truthfully, I think Josh Heupel's the right guy for the job. Just watching this Tennessee team mature as the seasons progress, yeah, they've had some highs, they've had some lows.
He's been very professional about how he's handled his team this year.
Oh, 100%. And also, how can you not forget the man that's coming back to Knoxville, the Lane Train? That's why this place is getting checkerboarded out. Come on now. How can you not forget about Lane Train? It's going to be I'm not sure how the atmosphere is going to be for a warm welcome, but I think a lot of fans will be excited to see Lane Kiffin back.
If excited is the word, I'm not sure, but it will definitely be a big one. But I want to switch gears. Noah, talk to us about the Big Blue Review.
Yeah, so this week on the Big Blue Review, we're going to be looking back at the Liberty MTSU matchup from last weekend, and then we're also going to be checking in on the volleyball and softball teams for the Blue Raiders as well.
The Big Blue Review.
The Blue Raiders this past Saturday matched up against Liberty University on their homecoming night as they hit the road for Saturday afternoon. MT's defense was great, but just found themselves on the field too often as the offense was not able to get going in this one, as MTSU fell short 41-13 even after forcing their impressive 15th, 16th, and 17th turnovers on the year. MT will be looking to recover from the road trip and make some corrections on the bye week this week before heading to the University of Connecticut on October 22nd. The Lady Raiders volleyball team hosted Florida International over the weekend for back-to-back days of matches on Friday and Saturday. Redshirt freshman Taylor Eisert had herself a weekend, as by the end of MT's victory on Saturday, Eisert had racked up over 109 assists on the weekend as she passed the 1,000 assist milestone. The Lady Raiders, led by Eisert and Kayla Henley, who had 20 kills on Saturday alone, defeated FIU Friday and Saturday in the weekend series sweep. The Lady Raiders look ahead now to their Friday matchup at WKU as they take on the Hilltoppers. After lots of schedule changes due to the wet weather last week, the Lady Raiders softball team ended up with a weekend packed with action. On Thursday, MT matched up with Snead State Community College, and lightning struck to say the least as the Raiders ran away with this one, winning 19-1. On Saturday, Trevecca came to town as the Raiders almost scored double digits in back-to-back games as they posted 9 runs in a 9-3 victory. And finally, the Golden Eagles of Tennessee Tech traveled to the Borough and were able to put a stop to the Lady Raiders' hot run, walking away with a 7-5 victory.
So, Nick, it was a great action-packed weekend for the Blue Raiders. Not as good for the football team, but for the volleyball team and the softball team, a lot of action and a lot of winning. Talk about what you saw in the weekend series sweep against FIU for the volleyball team.
I mean, this volleyball team is something to not be messed with. They're legit. We had Marley Banton on last week as our guest picker on Blue Raider Extra Point, and she told us that this team as a whole is just, you put your mind to it, they can accomplish anything. And well, we saw that this weekend. And so, and in regards to the softball team, they were just lights out as well. I mean, what do you got to say about it, Noah?
I mean, anytime you can put up an 18-run margin, I mean, they won that game it was against a community college, granted, but anytime you can win a game by 18 runs, I think that's impressive. I mean, and I think that does something for your team's morale, to say the least.
Oh, 100%. And also, if you're just hitting a couple dingers over the fence, I feel like that gives them morale a little bit more.
It was highlight central, to say the least. You would have loved it.
Yes, indeed.
Highlight Central, I love it. This softball team has definitely seen a lot of changes, but for them to put up that extra 18, a team can hit a spot where they take the morale and the mentality, and they're like, okay, we'll give up, we'll sit in the back seat. But that is not what it was for the Lady Raiders, so props to them. But unfortunately, we do have to take a quick timeout. We'll be right back with more on Blue Raider Extra Point.
You're watching Blue Raider Extra Point.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Once there was a boy who did the same thing again and again. One day, he was told he had autism. He got help and slowly learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
And welcome back to Blue Raider Extra Point. I'm Abigail Martin alongside Noah Brady and Nick Frazier. Nick, it is time. Take us around the CUSA.
Yes, a small lineup of games this week in Conference USA, but I found 2 good matchups. The first one is La Tech versus UTEP, and the second one is Rice versus undefeated UTSA.
Around the CUSA.
2-3 Louisiana Tech go on the road to face the 5-1 UTEP Miners. Running back for the Miners, Ronald Awatt, has 445 yards on the season, averaging 5.7 yards a carry. Another standout for the Miners is linebacker Breon Hayward. Hayward has 40 tackles, and over half are solo tackles at 24. Hayward also tallied a scoop and score this past week versus Southern Miss. The Miners are 1 win away from bowl eligibility. Will Louisiana Tech rain on their parade? Don't let the records fool you. This will be a closer matchup than expected. For the first time ever in program history, undefeated UTSA look to continue their winning streak at home versus Rice. Wide receiver for the Roadrunners, Joshua Cephas, who has been a consistent target, averages 10.9 yards per reception. In the last 4 games, Cephas has had 80-plus yards receiving and 3 total touchdowns, surpassing Zachary Franklin in the stat book. As for Rice, they have won their last 2 games. Senior quarterback Jake Constantine has a 72.7% completion rating versus conference opponents. Will the Owls upset the Roadrunners? This should be an interesting matchup to watch this weekend.
So, Nick, a limited amount of CUSA action this week, but some good, solid CUSA action to say the least. My eyes are on this UTSA and Rice game. UTSA, just an undervalued program. Talk about a little bit. I mean, this is a disciplined team, strong both on and off the field, a well-coached, dynamic offense and defense. Why is this team so undervalued in the CUSA West?
Well, let me start with the coaching staff. With their hire back in 2019 of Jeff Traylor, he's been unbelievable. He's turned this team from being a few win seasons to being undefeated. The first time in school history, 6-0. Like that's unheard of. But also you have to give more credit to the offensive coordinator as well and defensive coordinator. But looking at the offensive side of the ball, Barry Looney Jr. has been unbelievable. He's, I guess you'd call him a wizard in some aspects. But he sprinkled in certain concepts, especially when we were the Western Kentucky game. They would run the ball on, I'd say, 1 or 2 drives, a heavy run, and then next drive, defense would probably expect passing. Well, no, he went right back to the run game, and then he would just start throwing deep balls. I mean, just big.
Well, that was one of the things that we saw in that Western Kentucky game. You thought, okay, UTSA's got the play action set up really well, but what did they do? They kept going back to the ground. And same thing later in the second half when they were airing it out. They just kept on and kept on and kept on. And you were like, okay, this UTSA quarterback, his stats aren't really lining up with, this back and forth action that they're going through. And then you saw his numbers at the end of the fourth quarter versus the end of the second quarter. And you're like, where did this come from? How did this happen?
And that's
impressive to watch.
Very impressive. And it's so smart by the OC because he's able to wear down that defense with his run game with Sincere McCormick and then just capitalize with Joseph Cephas, who's been a phenomenal wide receiver stepping in for Zachary Franklin, who's been questionable from weeks in and out. But overall, this team's being undervalued. I think they should be ranked in comparison to a Coastal Carolina team. This is what I think they look like in comparison to now. So what do you think?
All the pieces are there, and they are gelling at this point. We kind of talked about that off the air. It's like when you're getting ready to frame a puzzle. You put all the pieces down, and then you start gluing them to the sheet to get them to stick to the wall, and they are sticking right now, man.
Yep.
I can't believe you hit that one, but they're very versatile and definitely a great team to watch. They're one of my favorites to watch in the Conference USA. Undervalued, that is for sure one way to describe them. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at all the Conference USA matchups for this weekend. We're going to catch up with Ayanna Bronner for this week's Blue Raider Spotlight.
Back with MTN, I am Ayanna Bronner, and this is
Quincy Riley.
And what is your position?
I play cornerback.
Okay. And what is your year?
I'm a junior in the classroom, but on the field I'm a redshirt sophomore, redshirt freshman.
And now that you're coming back, how are you feeling now?
I feel good. I've been drinking a lot of fluids and stuff, and I'm just real excited to get back out there. I missed 2 games.
And how did missing 2 games make you feel?
It really made me feel like, it's like, I ain't gonna say not part of the team, it's like, I know they needed me out there, like, in my position, and like, more so just on me, like, I need to be out there myself, like, got things to do, and like, really, it just made me not feel good. I'm gonna put it like that.
You're a team player.
Yeah.
And who is your favorite player that you mimic yourself after?
I say Denzel Ward, just cause we mostly play with our speed. That's our ability. But I like watching his highlights and critiquing him on film and things like that.
And watching him and critiquing his film, how has that made you a better player and made you a better team player in the process?
It helped me know when I can use my speed and when not to use my speed. Like, I try to guard guys like 90–85% of my speed, so I can always stay in with my body control. That's what he mostly do. So like watching him, like he let me know like, oh, when do I need to use my speed, when I need to just play with real technique or things like that nature.
Thank you guys for joining us. This is Quincy Riley again, cornerback, and we know that he can make a big contribution as a cornerback, and so we hope that in these next few games we start to get more footage of him and we can actually see him put in the work. Once again, this is Ayana Bronner for MTN checking out.
Great work as always, Ayana, on this week's Blue Raider Spotlight. We'll be back with more on Blue Raider Extra Point.
Nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity that could have changed your life. Maybe you're just graduating high school, or are working and need to earn a degree to advance your career. Or you aspire to be a leader, and a graduate degree can make that happen. Whether you're just starting out or retooling for the future, Middle Tennessee State University can help you get there. MTSU, the University of Opportunities.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
And we are back, but let's go ahead and send it over to Zachary Lone for this week's scouting report, where he's going to tell us how MTSU will match up against UConn for next Friday night's game.
MTSU starts the easiest part of their schedule with arguably the worst team in college football. Their last 6 opponents have a combined 7 wins on the year so far. Their first opponent, though, could be the worst of all of them. The UConn Huskies are 0-7 on the year, and almost nothing has gone right for them. The Huskies are getting outscored 37-16 per game this year. They have only scored 13 touchdowns on the year, but they have already given up 34. They also give up a total of 452 yards per game. The Blue Raiders' offense has been very productive on the year, scoring 27 points per game. They have also gained 327 yards total through the air and on the ground per game this year. The Blue Raiders have already forced 17 turnovers, and next weekend is another chance for MTSU to have a huge defensive day. The Huskies have used 3 quarterbacks so far in the year, and they have not been able to find their guy. They struggle moving the ball up and down the field, and this Huskies offense is just not as explosive as the rest of the country. Next weekend is a chance for the Blue Raiders to get back on track and get ready for their last 6 weeks of the regular season as they vie to get into that bowl game. This is a get-right game if there ever was one.
Thanks, Zach. With his scouting report in mind, what does MTSU need to do to succeed against UConn?
Well, my first key is pass completions. Chase Cunningham last week threw for 230 yards and threw 52%. And I think for them to beat UConn, he has to throw for 65% or more. That's just how I look at the game. My second key is defensive pressure. Last week, MTSU's defense had 6 tackles for loss, led by Richard Kinley with 1.5. That defense, they're lights out. We've seen it all year. It needs to continue. My third key, special teams. We haven't seen special teams since week 1 against Monmouth. They played very well in that game. Now UConn, this is another game that needs MTSU for them to, I guess you could say, bring the morale up. You know, I feel like this team needs more morale. They need to be able to just go out there full-fledged and put 40 points on them.
Absolutely. Nick, my first key is run the football. If you're the Blue Raiders, you are looking for some success on both the passing game and the running game of this offense. I mean, you have to keep the defense guessing. We noticed early on in this season, we have a weak offensive line. That's one of the things that opposing defenses are taking advantage of against us, and we're getting pressure on Chase Cunningham, forcing him to make some bad decisions, and that's one of the things that we've got to move away from if we want to see success in the later part of this season. And the other thing with that is that buys you more time. That buys your quarterback more time. That buys your wide receivers and tight ends more time to figure out their routes. But also, it buys your defense more time to keep them off the field as long as possible before they got to come out there and keep on being dominant. They've got 17 turnovers already this year. They're doing their part. They've just been on the field too much early on this year. My second key, use the bye. You've got to use this bye week if you're the Blue Raiders. They had a 3-week road trip. They come home for a week, and then they're back on the road. 4 out of the past 5 weeks they've been on the road, but they have had success on the defensive side. You've got to do more of what has worked and less of what hasn't. You got to have good coaching. That's both a coaching note and a player's note. If you're a player, you're Chase Cunningham, look at the routes that you've thrown, look at the passes that you've thrown, look at what's worked, look for consistencies there. If you're a wide receiver, look at some of the routes that have been effective against which defensive looks. And if you're on the defensive side, take your success and run with it. Don't be satisfied with where you are now. Want to improve. Constantly want to improve. My third key, understand the stakes. If you're the Blue Raiders, every game at this point, whether you're at home or you're on the road, has to be treated like it is your last game. If the Blue Raiders want to be successful and go bowling this year, and they want to go get a conference championship, even if they just want to win the East, they can compete with teams like WKU and UTSA. This team is very capable of doing that. But we have to see them play both sides of the ball for both halves. We saw that almost come back to bite them when they played Marshall. They came 6 points away. 6 points away. We thought we had that game wrapped up by halftime. And then that's what kept them out of this game against Liberty. Their defense was getting their offensive spark. Their sideline was fired up all game long because they were creating turnovers, huge plays, and what didn't happen? We didn't execute on both sides of the ball. Both sides of the ball have to be executed on for this to go successful.
Noah, I really like what you said for your first key, and that was keep the defense guessing. And I think that's something that MTSU needs to take advantage of, especially having the quarterback change. Not only are you seeing a coaching change, which has happened on earlier, of course, but the the quarterback change with Chase. This team has changed a lot, and I mean, it's given a lot of opportunities. But anyways, my first key, say bye to penalties. Discipline. It's something that we've stressed all year long, and it's something that we're seeing that is improving. However, we've stressed it all year long. It's end of the season. You need to wrap it up and get it together. My second key, trust in Chase. This goes all around. I've really liked how the team's been able to play under Chase, seeing that transition, but even with Dearman's calling. But he needs to be given more time, given from the offensive line, so he can have more time on the field. He can have more time to, like you said, Noah, look at the routes and see what he's doing that's working. My third key, all in for MTSU. Y'all are going to love this. Connecticut governor told Yahoo Sports that UConn is all in on big-time football despite the record that they've had, a 11-game-long losing record as well at that. But, keep that in mind. They're all in. So my key, MTSU, show them who is actually all in.
Those are our keys for the Blue Raiders as they match up next Friday night against UConn. When we come back, though, we'll have today's picks on Blue Raider Extra Point.
Nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity that could have changed your life. Maybe you're just graduating high school or are working and need to earn a degree to advance your career. Or you aspire to be a leader, and a graduate degree can make that happen. Whether you're just starting out or retooling for the future, Middle Tennessee State University can help you get there. MTSU, the University of Opportunities.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody, to Blue Raider Extra Point. I hope y'all are ready because it is time for the picks.
Oh, yeah. Bring it on. Let's go.
All righty.
I got it. I have 70%. Highest on the team.
We will see about that after this week. First up, Rice and UTSA.
UTSA is my hot pick of the week, as they've been every week. Haven't let me down. First time in school history that they are undefeated. So please, give me UTSA. This is going to be a double-digit win.
I got to agree with you here in this one, Nick. UTSA, I think their offense is going to be too much for Rice. We've been talking about how undervalued this program is. I want to see them come out, and I want to see them come out strong. It's going to be a close game, though. I mean, Rice is going to put up a good fight, I think. I think this is going to be one of those close games that, across college football are going to be one that's highlighted a lot. But I'm taking the Roadrunners.
I think we'll see a lot from this Roadrunners team, as you've mentioned. I'm not sure if I think it's going to be more of a close game or more of a far-fetched aspect. However, I can tell you that UTSA will be winning this ball game. Next up, UAB and Southern Miss.
It's so hard not to pick Southern Miss. I know, it is extremely hard. Give me UAB. I got to do it. UAB's been playing so well this past week. And previous weeks as well. And Southern Miss has just been lackluster. I have to go with UAB.
I'm also going to have to take UAB, not as much of a chip on my shoulder for doing so, but I'm going to take UAB. They're averaging 360 yards per game, 25 points per game. They have the edge in both those categories against Southern Miss. Plus, on top of everything, they're coming off a huge conference win against FAU. Give me UAB.
I can't believe that he finally went against Southern Miss. I hope you're okay because you seem a little heartbroken for that one. But I'll agree with you. I think UAB is the better team that's going to pull out with this win. They're statistically the better team, so I'll run with that as well. Western Kentucky and Old Dominion.
I'm on Western Kentucky this week. They're 1-5. They've had a few games to where they've lost by one possession. And with this air raid offense, they're going to win this game by double digits. I think a lot of these games this week are going to be double-digit margin wins, and Western Kentucky is just a part of that trend.
Here's my thing with WKU. They're 5-1 all-time in this matchup, and the last time that they played Old Dominion, it was a 20-3 win for them. I think they're running away with this one.
Old Dominion's coming off of a heartbreaker, an overtime loss, but I think Western Kentucky hasn't handled for this one without that chip on their shoulder because Western Kentucky's been able to put at least 30 points up on the board per game. I want to see something coming up from the defense as well. I don't want them to take the back seat because we know that Western Kentucky's offense can handle it. So give me the Hilltoppers. Next up, La Tech and UTEP.
Here we go.
La Tech is favored in this game by the public eye, and obviously on this show, La Tech's been a favorite as well. But give me the Miners. The Miners are 5-1. I don't know why people are overlooking this team. They've been playing well. Give me the Miners.
And you've got every reason to think so. The last three matchups in this affair, UTEP's won 3 straight. I mean, they've won the last 3. But I think La Tech stays undefeated in the conference here. I think they're running away with it. Chase, I'm making you proud. La Tech's taking this one.
I'm glad someone is because it won't be me. I know that's not surprising to him. But I've got UTEP for this one. I think it's going to be a close game. However, La Tech is having a bye week this week, so I think that might get in, they're coming off of a bye week. So I think that's something that could get in their head and actually really lead to continue on UTEP's winning streak.
Check out Blue Raider Extra Point on Instagram and Twitter.
All right, well, unfortunately, that wraps up today's show. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to tune in every Saturday morning at 10:30 here on True Blue TV.
And make sure to check us out on Instagram and Twitter. We want to hear from you.
And if you missed this or any other episode, you can find those online at MiddleTennesseeNews.net or on our YouTube at Middle Tennessee News. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Okay.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.